Hello, everyone. Today we're very excited to have my good friend Phyllis Tan with us today. I think she's a very positive and wise person. That's why I would like her to share her experience with us. Welcome to the show, Phyllis.
Thank you, Jackie.
Okay, so the first thing is actually I just want to say a very interesting fact about you. You grow up in Singapore in the 60s, but actually Singapore is younger than you.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
it's true.
So I'm quite old actually.
Oh, I didn't put it out.
Okay.
But strictly speaking, you born in Malaysia, basically. You're born in strictly speaking.
No. By then, we are already Singapore, but just that it gained its independence in 2 years after I was born.
Oh, so officially, it's like 2 years
It's already
after.
it's already Singapore, but
Okay.
just that
Oh.
I don't know. It's a bit complicated. Yeah.
Okay. But I guess the most important thing is, with your memory, what was Singapore like when you grow up?
Well, it wasn't as affluent as it is now. Used to be like a village. Well, not really village by the time I was born, but things were pretty much backward at that time because we were a third world country. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And
yeah. So like it's just because it's just newly independent as a country, so it's like a little bit very.
Yeah, I guess the leaders had a lot to work through, right? Like housing, education.
Oh wow.
Defense.
Yeah.
So it's a lot on their plate when they first, took over, when they broke off from Malaysia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But how about in your impression or in your memory? Do you remember much, in those times, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, when I grew up, when I was growing up, it was okay. I mean, we were pretty decent. We are not like really in the village kind of thing, but we have good housing.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything was there. Transport was good. The system, yeah.
Oh, really? Wow. So already pretty kind of sad already.
Yeah.
How would you describe your family, actually? I think the first question is how many siblings you have?
Okay. I have 4 brothers.
Yes.
And I'm the only daughter. And I'm the youngest too. Yes.
Okay. So you're the most precious. Everyone holding you.
Yeah, fortunately it was that way. But during, my time, our parents are usually more towards having boys.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but my family has been very open and very modernized in their thinking.
Yeah.
So my mom had always wanted a daughter. Yeah. Yeah. So even so, my dad, he is okay. I mean, he loves my brother, but because I'm the youngest,
So most precious.
I think so. Yeah.
So how much is the gap though compared to your youngest brother? How much is the?
Okay, so the one above me, before me, he is 4 years my senior, older than me, and then 8 years, 10 years, and 11 years.
Oh wow! So quite a
big gap.
Quite a gap. So you think it's a good thing? You think like?
Well, I have no choice. But I guess it's okay because during that time, there are some age gap as wide as almost 20 years.
Really?
Yeah, because the women, they get married at a very young age.
Yeah.
So if they get married at 20 years old, 22 years old, they could still be giving birth to children at 40.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's true. But how would you describe your family socioeconomically? Like what kind of?
Okay, my dad was a self-employed like a broker.
Okay.
So he was dealing with commodity like pepper, coffee, things like that. So he would find a buyer and get a seller and match the deal. So it was good money if the deals are done. But sometimes when the market is quiet, or so basically we do not have a stable income. So that's a bit challenging. There are months that we're quite happy, we have lots of things, and there are months that are slower. Yeah. So, but other than that, I think my family most of the time had been doing well. Yeah.
Like never lack of anything, kind of like you would just you never feel lack.
Yeah, as children, we have never felt lack of anything. I think our parents did a good job. I mean, even though we were not rich, I believe, if I remember correctly, there were times that they had to borrow money.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, but when there are good times, we really had it good. Yeah. So, but as children, our lives are very stable. We were not very much affected by the money that's coming in, what we have, what we do not have.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think mostly what I remembered is when we do have a lot.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you remember the good time, basically.
Yes.
Okay.
Most of the time it's been good. So yeah, but I do know that there were bad times.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. How would you describe your mom? I know your mom's family in general was very special, considered the time that they were living in, mainly educational wise, right?
Yes.
So how do you describe that? How would you describe your
mom? My mom and her siblings, they were all educated. My eldest auntie, most of them worked in a bank, and my uncles were teaching. Yeah, and my youngest auntie was working in immigration office. Yeah. So they were all doing pretty well. Yeah.
So for your mom, she finished until high school or something like that?
Almost. She did. For us, it's called secondary 3.
Okay.
Yeah, which is like grade 10.
Yeah, but I mean, like in that time, it's a very special thing.
And especially for women.
Yes. Yeah, that's very true.
Mm-hmm.
And how would you describe your father, actually?
My father is a quiet person. He's got a gentle soul. He doesn't talk much. But he is very caring. Okay. Yeah. So he really took care of all of us. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But if you think of it, like you put it all together, you grow up in Singapore, have a family. I think you remember all the good time and sound like very loving family. What is the biggest life lesson you have learned from your upbringing, and what kind of value you develop, you think, throughout your life? Because of the family that you brought up with.
Okay, I think what I learned from my parents is they are very generous. They are always giving. And amongst my mom's family, we are always the one that is gathering all my aunties, my uncles, my cousins. And my mom, I'm not sure if she really loves to cook, but I think she loves the people. So she will always prepare meals for her siblings and my cousins all to come. Yeah. Especially during occasions like Chinese New Year.
Oh, so like generosity is one of the biggest things that you learn.
Yeah.
But from your father, do you feel you learn like a work ethic from him?
Oh yeah, my dad is a person of integrity. So he's not he will not take advantage of anything or any person. Yeah. I remember a long time ago when just probably like a bookkeeper from a company gave him a check that has got, I think, maybe two or three other zeros behind the check. Yeah. Yeah. But he was very quick to return the check and, and make the change. Yeah.
Okay. So he was very honest, basically.
Yeah, he's always very honest.
Okay. And hardworking, I would imagine.
Yeah, he's very hardworking. And during the earlier years, I remember once where he just dropped some money and he has no more, no extra. He had to walk all the way home. And I think that is like quite a distance. I don't know, maybe 5 km or something like that. Yeah.
So he wouldn't mind.
Yeah. So he is very hardworking, very loving, very loving father.
So you do see, I mean, like even in that point when you're a child, you begin to see, I think, two things very important: honesty and generosity. So you do learn that even throughout your life, you begin to understand, it is something important. Okay, then let's talk about you a little bit, actually. Well, I mean, like most Southeast Asian country, whenever I think of school, very competitive. So that was what my impression is. Well, I mean, I grew up there too. That's how I felt when I was going to school. And I think now is even more so. But in your point of view, when you're growing up, did you find school difficult? Do you find it very competitive?
Yeah, yes and no. Okay, I was in I think it's the best girls' school at that time. Even now, it is also still a very one of the top schools in.
You're talking about secondary, right?
Secondary, yeah.
Which is high school here, yes.
Yes, which is high school here, yeah. Primary, which is elementary.
Yeah.
That was a breeze for me. So in primary school, which is elementary, I was always doing well. So I went to the good school.
Yeah.
So at that time when I, in that school, of course, because it's the cream of the crop, so everybody is good. Then I realized that I'm not so good after all.
Okay.
Maybe I'm not there, but I'm here.
Yeah. But not the best, but not the worst. That's how it is. That's how you feel. Is that what
That's
you mean?
That's how I feel, yeah.
Okay. And I think to put in context though, you have to take tests, right, between the elementary school and secondary school, right? When you finish elementary school, you have to take a test. It's not like, oh, I like that school, I go there. It's not like that, right?
No, yeah. So it's a big examination during that time.
Yeah.
From primary 6 to secondary school. Yeah. So we had to take exams, and then we have to choose our schools. First choice, second choice, and then they will see your performance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how old would you be when you take that exam? The primary
that would be 12 years old.
12 years old.
Which is like elementary 6 here, I think.
I think, well, similar to my experience too, I would think, I grew up in Hong Kong. So I think when you arrive in the high school, which is secondary school, what you call, you have to take another test to see which class you go into.
Yes, I did. Yes. So, well, I went to the best class at that time.
Okay.
Yeah. So initially I thought, well, okay, I'm quite smart.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then as the years go by, you see that your results is not as good as, before. Yeah. But having said that, I'm thankful for my parents. They do not pressurize me, to do well, because they understand that it's a good school. The rest of the people are just as good. Yeah. So for that, it really comforts me. Yeah.
But I think when you say that point, it's kind of surprised me. I think even nowadays when I look at, like, of course I teach piano as my trade, I look at some of my students and I look at some of the parents. Even now I'm kind of surprised. Because I understand why the parents give like children pressure. Because for their time, if you can't finish university, you're set for life. Right? It's a very different time. If you can finish high school, that is very, very difficult, almost unheard of for different reasons, right? But why do you think your parents actually didn't do that? I mean, like, even nowadays, the parents do that sometimes.
Yeah, that's a good question. I guess because they are very understanding. Yeah. And because I think they also trusted us as children. We do our best. Yeah. Yeah. So we are not the I was quite playful, but I would study, I would do my homework. Yeah. So I don't neglect my studies. So they know, right?
Okay.
I mean, yeah.
Oh. Wow. So, but I mean, that's still kind of surprising, right?
No, I think the parents these days are even more pressurizing than my parents, because they didn't go through that rigorous type of education. Yeah. So I think they were okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, like, who knows? And I remember the story, can you share this story? When you first, I think you received a report card, you were not as happy with that.
Yes. Well, not that I was not happy. Well, I was shocked, actually. Like I was telling you, during primary school, elementary school, I'm always the top in the class. And when I went to the secondary school, I went to the best class. So I thought, okay, I'm quite smart.
Mm.
But when the first term, the results came, I was, wow, it's double digit. I've never seen that before. So it was really bad. And I was disappointed in myself that I didn't do well.
Mm.
I did not even go home, actually. I took the public transport. I went 2 rounds.
Okay.
Yeah, not wanting to go home and show my parents my report card.
Mm.
Yeah, but I have to go home ultimately, at some point of time. I can't keep going around, So I went home, I showed my parents my report card. Surprisingly or thankfully, they were okay.
Mm.
Yeah.
They were okay.
They were
They
okay.
didn't say it.
No, I guess they understand.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was in the best class, right? So
and one of the best school too.
yeah, and the best school, right? So they I think they were very understanding.
Okay.
Because I have friends whose parents were, like, why, what kind of results is this, that kind of thing, and they're never good enough. But whereas I'm thankful that I think to my parents, I'm good enough.
That makes a big difference. And I think you need to put in context too, right? It's not so much about how high your mark is achieving. It's also about competing with other people. That's the ranking you're talking about, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's like how high, like your mark compared to other people and where you are as a rank. I think that's the. True. So it's not like your point is low. It's just there are people even better.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's more like that, right?
Yes.
Because I think it's kind of foreign here that they think you would rank with everyone in the class.
Exactly. Yeah, that's true.
Not even in the class, it's like in the whole grade, basically, right? You kind of have a ranking compared like with the entire grade as well as it is in your class too, I think.
In elementary school, yes.
Okay.
I think we rank across classes.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but in secondary school, I think it's only our own class.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but still kind of nerve-wracking.
Yes.
But then what was your attitude, since you find out that perhaps, there are always still people like better than you. So what was your attitude to face it? What did you do to face this kind of reality basically at that time?
Okay. I think I did tell you the other story about my friend, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, I wouldn't mind. Yeah.
Okay. So after I got my results, and it wasn't a very good attitude, but I felt like, okay, I'm not so good. I'm not as good as I thought I was at that time. Yeah. So I sort of put my expectation down for myself.
Okay.
But at the same time, I told myself maybe I don't want to work too hard. I don't want to face the reality that I'm really not that smart after all.
Okay.
Yeah. So my attitude was, okay, just be good. I don't have to be very good or the best. But I think I did tell you a story about my other friend who was last in class. And she cried for 3 days, 3 nights. And then the next term, she got top in class. Yeah. So I won't say I regret not doing that. Maybe I dare not do it too. I mean, in case I tried too hard and I'm still, somewhere in between. Yeah. But other than that, I think because of that, I feel less pressurized by myself. Yeah. And I was able to really enjoy my high school. Yeah, because I played hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you didn't neglect your responsibility. You
no, I was still okay. I was still okay.
Yeah, but it's just not trying like really hard.
No, I didn't try really hard. I'm more towards playing hard.
But you still passed though, and the fact is, actually, you also go to university too, because before university, once again, you have to take another standardized test, which is kind of like a big exam for everyone, right? You have to do that.
Yeah.
And you chose business management. as your major in university,
Mm-hmm.
you always say it is very suitable for you. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Why is that? Why is?
Okay, I didn't know it was suitable for me until after that. Okay, but the reason I chose is because, like I was telling you, I have a brother who's 4 years my senior.
Okay.
So he was in business administration too.
Yeah.
And I'm very much influenced by him.
Mm.
Yeah. So yeah, I think he encouraged me to do that.
Okay. Yeah. But as a major, just like just as the major, why you feel? I mean, looking back, why you feel is you have make a very good choice. Why you think that?
I think during my time, our university is not like now. Our courses are very fixed. If you take business administration, you have to do that 10 courses.
Okay.
You cannot pick and choose.
Yeah.
And if you don't do well in one, you basically fail the exams. Yeah. Okay. So you have to pass every one of it to move on to the next year. Right. So, but I think the subjects were very interesting. I really enjoy it. I love it. Economics. I love statistics.
Yeah.
But I didn't quite like accounting. Not because I didn't like numbers. I love numbers, but I'm very much also affected by my lecturer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I have got a lecturer that I could not understand his accent.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that was it. Yeah. But I still have to pass to move on. Yeah.
Yes. So it was like, not too difficult for you. You feel like very comfortable with all the classes and everything. Yeah. Wow. So it feels like you're in the right place. That's what it is.
It was. Yeah.
Then what happened? What did happen when you finished university? Like, what was your first job?
Okay. So during my time when I graduated in 1985, it was a recession year. So it was not easy to get a job, but thank God, he gave me a job, and I worked as a trader in a discount house. Yeah. Yeah,
discount house, which is like does not exist anymore.
No more in Singapore. I don't think they exist here.
But anyway, it's a financial institution, they do a lot of things that the bank would do, but it's not a bank, basically. Yes. So it must be difficult to find a job.
During my time.
Yeah, during your time.
Yes. Unless you are really very good. But like I said again, I'm not very good. So, but thank God I still got a job. Yeah.
So you were very happy when you get your first job. You were just very excited.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Because like generally after university, everyone just found a job.
Yeah. And I was thankful because during our time, there's no such thing as gap years and all. We just go on and on and on. But I was able to take a month's break before I start my job.
Okay. Yeah. So you said you were a trader. You were a trader or a dealer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like kind of like essentially.
Yeah. They can either call us a trader or a dealer. Yeah.
Okay. In what financial instrument though?
Okay, I was dealing with during the discount house days, I was doing discounting of bills. So I trade in bills, but I also traded in government bonds, government treasury bills.
Okay, just explanation of the bills is basically short-term commercial bond. That's what is like private company.
Those are the bills. Yes.
Yes. Short term though has to be. So up to when's the maturity usually?
Maximum is a year, but usually they are like 30 days, 90 days. So 1 month bill, 3 months bill, 6 months up to a year. But the government bonds and treasury bills are the same too.
Oh, so also short term too,
Bonds are 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. Yeah.
Okay, but for the discount house, they mostly focus on short term or like everything?
So discount house, we do discounting of bills, and at the same time also government treasuries.
Yeah, so all the way up to 30 years to even.
Well, at that time, Singapore didn't have up to 30 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because those are long bonds,
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, no.
Because now it's very common, 30
Oh
years.
yeah, now long bonds are common. Yeah,
Oh,
I'm not sure
wow.
what they have now, but during my time, I think maximum is 10 years.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's
During
interesting
that
to me. I did not know that.
During that time, okay.
Yeah.
Now I lost touch a bit.
But I think the thing is like, so did you, once you start this job as a trader, did you like it right away? Do you find it like, really exciting already, or like how do you find when you first started?
When I first started, yeah, I enjoyed it.
Right
Actually,
away.
almost right away. I mean, the learning part was, it's not that it's difficult, but you just have to go through it. And then after that, I love it. I love it. Yeah.
Okay.
I love my job.
Okay, let's ask this question. But so after the discount house, how long you stay in the discount house? Do you still remember?
Discount house, yes. 2 years.
Oh, wow,
Yeah.
really? So
Yeah.
fast?
Yeah, slightly less than 2 years.
Then where did you go afterward?
After that, I went to. You want the name of the bank, or I went to a bank? I went to the bank. Yeah.
And it's the same bank you work all along, right? Until you retire.
Until I retired, but I did take
Wow.
a break in between.
Okay, hold that for further. We can talk about it later. But wow, yeah, that is kind of amazing. Particularly consider your position, right? Because it's a seek after position. If you're doing well, every bank is looking for you, right?
Yeah.
But you stay there.
Yeah.
Okay, but anyway, I think we will talk about that too. Okay, that is one of the things I find it very surprising the first time when we were talking about this. You always seem so relaxed,
I know.
Did you ever feel, I just cannot imagine you would be the one standing on the trading floor, every people like calling you, picking up the phone, talking, and then the market is moving. Did you ever feel pressure?
Rarely.
Really?
Yeah, rarely feel pressure. Yeah, but I really enjoyed it. Yeah, because I like it when the market moves.
Yeah.
When the market is quiet, it's very boring. Yeah. Yeah.
But okay, you say rarely. So in what like rare occasion that you would feel
when you're
like
losing
somewhat...
money, when you're losing money for the bank, when the market moves against you, your position, yeah.
But you have way to deal with it too. That's what it feels like to me.
Ways to deal with it. Yeah. I guess so. Yeah, pray about it. You pray really hard when the market is against you. Yes, yes.
But you keep saying like you really love your job. What is so exciting about it in your opinion to you?
Okay, because first of all, the market hours are quite short, which means my working hours was also quite short.
Okay.
Yeah, and I have very good colleagues. Yeah, and even our trading partners, different traders from other banks.
Yeah,
we're all friends, so it's quite fun. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, the people who call you, you would know that basically.
Oh yeah. We are all friends. We go out for lunch.
Yeah.
We go lunch with the traders. We go lunch with the brokers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's we basically eat a lot too. Yeah.
And the bank pay for it too.
Sometimes. Yeah. Most of the time. Yeah.
Yeah. I would imagine they treat you well.
Yeah.
So it's just, but then how about the job itself? What is exciting to you?
Okay, so for me, because I'm a market maker, so what it means is that I make a purchase price and I make a sale price with a spread, So every time when people call me, I will make a two-way price. So they can either buy from me or they can sell it to me. So it's very interesting. I mean, exciting. When the market moves, you have to quote accordingly. Yeah. And you also got to read your counterparty. Whether if you think the counterparty is a seller, you're not going to quote, a high price to buy from him. You will read and you quote a lower price. But if you really want to buy, then you perhaps quote something that will suit him, for him to sell to you.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. So would you say it's also because like you feel you are very good at this job? That's why it's exciting for you?
Yeah, I would say so.
It just seems like you know
Yeah,
how to
yeah,
deal with
yes,
different
yes,
situations. That's
yes.
why you.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
but
think that's why I'm also very surprised too. Oftentimes, when I think of trader, they also like they just really stress
yeah,
out.
which is true. Most people are stressed. But actually, for me, if I'm a price maker, it's more stressful because when you call me, I have to give you a two-way price.
Mm,
So when market moves, sometimes you can be hit.
yeah,
You may be selling, and then after that, you cannot buy it back at the same price. You have to buy at a higher price. Yeah.
yeah,
But there are traders who just basically take position and tell
yeah,
the broker, okay, watch me at this level, call me when it's there,
yeah,
or I put an order with you to sell at this price,
yeah,
or to buy at this price.
yeah.
So that one is more, I don't think I'll enjoy that.
Okay, because it's
I
not in your control as much.
I find it is very boring.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, I'd rather have, when somebody calls me, I read the person,
Yeah.
I quote a price, yeah.
Wow.
I think that's more exciting.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just
Yes.
really surprised. But I think good thing in a little bit context too, right? When you just started to be a trader, something like I think Singapore was like trying to start like a benchmark or something.
Yes. So prior to that, I mean, there were already government bonds and treasury bills, but it was not scriptless. So they have to, like the physical bill, the physical bond, and all. But when I came in, we just started this scriptless bond market. Yeah.
Okay.
And we were also just developing it to try and the yield curve, right?
Yeah.
How the people would borrow at what kind of rate, So the government came in to develop this government bond market, so that there is like a benchmark for people to price accordingly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think also the other thing important is like why it's beneficial as a working for the bank is also because like you have to hold a number of bonds for every single bank.
Yes.
To match up with like the deposit rate that they have, like so how much people put in the deposit, they have to hold like some kind of amount of bond, and they have to keep it on that threshold. That makes you busy.
So that one is okay. That number will be given to me by the back office, because how much you need to keep as reserve. Yeah. So you can't sell, even if you're bearish on the market, you see the market coming down, you cannot sell everything. The bank needs to have a certain amount of holdings.
Yeah.
But you can decide whether to hold longer term bonds or short bills. Depends on your outlook of the market, right? Rates are going up, rates are coming down.
Wow. But anyway, a lot of interesting things to talk about in your job. I really think, that's a lot of surprising fact, or like for me actually. And you mentioned a little bit, you took a 6-year break in between. Why you did that?
Okay. This is something very personal. Before I had my child, okay. So I took that 6 years. So what happened was that when I first came to work in 1985, that was my vow to God that I would do 10 years. I want to see the world for 10 years.
Okay.
And then later on, I'm open to being a missionary, work in church, whatever, that 10 years.
Yeah.
So when the 10 years was up, I remembered what I promised, And then, so when there was an opening for my husband's company to go to Indonesia, so we decided to take that. So I went with him in 95. But I had my child in 96.
Oh.
Yeah. So see, God gave me more than what I gave to him.
Oh.
Yeah. So so it was no big sacrifice on my part, even though a lot of people at that time were thinking that you're crazy, you have a good job, you're doing so well, making so much money. Why do you want to go and not knowing what to do, Yeah. But I got a kid after that. Yeah.
So you're happy you have a kid. That's more than anybody.
That's more than anything else.
Yeah, more than anything. But what did John think? What did your husband think? What did John think? Like, when he first received the position, that he's going to...
Yeah, he was going to reject it because he didn't think that I would want to quit my job. So he came home one day just to mention that actually they wanted him to go to Indonesia, to start a hospital because he was in healthcare to build hospital. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I think he was surprised that I said, yeah, let's go,
So he was surprised too?
I'm sure everybody was surprised.
Except you were.
Except me, yeah. I was like, no, don't change my mind. This is what's going to happen. Yeah.
Oh. Wow.
And the timing was perfect, right?
Yeah.
It was really 10 years.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Because 85 to 95.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But then, so you just stay in Indonesia for 1 or 2 years only, or?
Well, it was just 1 year for me because Caleb, my son, was born in 96.
Yeah.
So 95 I went, and in 96 I came back. And John came back just slightly after in 97, I think 97.
Okay.
Yeah. Just a few months later.
Okay. But you take a longer break because
Oh yeah. I didn't go back to work till my son was about 6 years old, 6 or 7 years old.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Well, actually, that wasn't the plan. The original plan was to go back to work after that because I had another job offer.
Yeah.
Yeah. After I gave birth to my son.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I almost going to sign it, but I decided against it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, why actually?
Okay. So the reason was that I was nursing him, first 2 months or 3 months.
Yeah.
And out of the blue, one day he just couldn't stop crying. He just kept crying. And then I was like, what do I do? What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
And I was getting so impatient with him. That was the first time. And in fact, the next day I was going to sign and give my acceptance of the offer. But something overcame me. I was so upset with my son that I couldn't stop him from crying. I almost wanted to give him that shake.
Yeah.
But I didn't. So I was thinking, how could I let somebody else look after my son? If I'm a mother, and I couldn't even almost couldn't control myself, how could I let a helper to look after my son, right? Yeah, because the helper will have to do housework and have to look after him. And I don't want anything to happen to my son. And he's much more precious than, all this money that comes in.
Yeah.
So I decided not to. Yeah. And then, so I rejected that. And then 6 years later, my first bank came back to me and asked me to start with, again. Because when I left the bank at that time, they gave up the dealership back to the Monetary Authority of Singapore.
Okay.
Yeah, because the bond dealership is given to only at that time was up to 8 banks.
Okay.
So I think 5 was primary dealers and 3 were registered dealers.
Okay.
Yeah. So we gave up that dealership. So after 6 years, after my son was born, my bank decided that they wanted the dealership back. So they asked me to go back and start again. Because when I left, they gave that up. Yeah.
Also good time.
I know, right? Yeah.
Also good time. Otherwise, you might change to another position actually. But what did you learn the most from this break? What did you learn about yourself and your career and everything? What did you learn?
Okay, so for me, why I was so willing to give up all these things. Because right from the start, I told myself I do not want to be sucked into this world. Yeah, because if you are a dealer in a bank and if you're making good money, all you see is a better house, a bigger house, a better car. Everything is more and more and more. Yeah. So I didn't want to do that. So for me, I felt like, okay, enough. So I was able to give that up. And then, thank God, I had a son at the time.
Yeah.
And then because after 6 years, he's already a big boy. He can run, going to school already.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
more independent.
So I went back to work.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. This episode is brought to you by JW Music Studio. JW Music Studio is currently looking for piano and guitar teacher. If you're eager to find effective way to instruct private and group lessons, if you also passionately care about a student's personal and musical journey, then you're the one. Please email your resume to jnwmusic@yahoo.ca. We're looking forward to hear from you. But that's also another surprising thing for me. When you're like in it day in and day out, and you have to understand what you do. Your career, like your job is basically dealing with money, right? I'm just really surprised that how can you stand so firm? How can you stand so strong? It's just like, okay, this is not the path that I want to go. Because surrounding, you have to understand, surrounding you, everyone is like this, right? I mean, I heard many stories, I mean, like of like different young trader or people, right? Working in this kind of finance kind of world, it's very hard to resist this when you're in it, right? So why do you think you can do that?
I think it is hard. Many people are stuck into it. I guess maybe right from the start that 10 years that I was willing to, see the world and then give up. I think that was the first step. I mean, now that you say, as I look back, because there's nothing really to stop me from pursuing more.
Yeah.
But I think because of that first part where, first 10 years where I was willing to give up, so there's nothing that I
But if you didn't take the break, do you think it would be the same result?
I think if I didn't take that break, I would be sucked in all throughout. Yeah.
All throughout. And probably you wouldn't retire.
I probably won't retire. Yeah.
Yeah. So you just continue, right?
I would think so. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So that break was really important, really.
I think so.
It would be a life-changing thing, basically. So you wouldn't sit here with me at all.
I won't even know you. I won't even be in Canada, right? Yeah.
Right. But what official position were you in when you retire, actually?
I was a director.
Oh, you're called director, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was like trader, AVP, VP, director, managing director.
Oh, okay. So you still can go higher.
I can still go higher.
You still can go higher.
Yeah.
So how old were you actually? I mean, actually, maybe don't ask that, but I mean, you were. The key thing is you were happy. You were happy with your job.
Right.
And you're good at it. Obviously, otherwise the bank wouldn't ask you to go back.
Right.
Otherwise, right?
Yeah.
And you were relatively young when you retired. Actually, I mean, like I think even now, I think that is pretty much everyone's goal is to retire around this stuff. Think about it, in your time, that's like really, really early, right? And you make two big decisions too. Not just that you retire, you move to Canada. Why you make those two big things,
So it happened together because I retired. I wanted to come to Canada. That's why I retired.
Oh, okay.
I guess. Yeah. I could even go on, but at some point I would stop. I don't think I would just keep going. Yeah.
So you just want to retire at that point?
Yeah.
But why? I mean,
sort of. Why? Okay, because we came to Canada for holiday.
Yeah.
And we fell in love with the place. And so John and I, we were talking about, I said, okay, one day we'll go retire in Canada. And the opportunity came. So we did that. But the other thing is also for Caleb, my son. He's the only child, right? So I don't want him to be sucked into that very competitive environment. Yeah. I think in Asia, you would know.
Yes.
Hong Kong, Singapore, Korea. Yeah, they are so competitive in school that even the children, they will not share with each other, like the spelling list or something like, things like that. Yeah. I remember there was once that Caleb lost his spelling list. Yeah. And people won't lend it to him. Not because they are not friends, but they just want him to do better. Yeah. And I heard many of such stories. Yeah.
So you don't want your son to be like a selfish person.
No, yeah, I don't want. Because like I say, for me, generosity, giving is very big part of me, I really want him to do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if he's stuck in that system, he would just be, me, myself.
Yeah. And he's a single child too, by the way.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm me and myself, right? Yeah.
It's only him, right?
That's right.
But when you arrive at your last position, do you see that as your pinnacle? Like that's like, okay, I'm like, the highest place that I want to be already.
Yeah, I think that's also why the reason I say it's good to just retire. I mean, there was a reason for me to retire at that particular time. But if not, I don't think I really want to move up, and I don't think so.
So you just don't want to take more responsibility. That was like good enough for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that's
because to me, there's no end to earning money. Okay.
Yeah.
There's always more things to do.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Numbers infinite.
Yeah. So if you are comfortable, if you're okay, yeah.
So at that point, you already feel that basically by the time you come to an end. Okay. So if you look back at your life, all the things that you have experienced, all the things that you have passed through and you have learned, what do you think is success in life?
Success, not the world looks at it, but my personal opinion, okay? Because to me, success may look this, but to others, it may not be. But for me, it has to be all-rounder, okay? Your spirit, your soul, your body, your mind has to be in a good state. Yeah, because if I'm very successful in my career, but my family is, breaking up, then that's not successful, right?
Yeah.
Or if I'm so stressed, I'm so depressed, my mental health is bad.
Yeah.
Even though I may be making money, but I'm so unhappy, it's still not successful. Yeah. So to me, you have to have all-rounded your spirit. So I think a humble spirit is important. Humble spirit, hungry soul, always learning. Not and then your heart has to be in the right place. Okay, a hearing heart. So for me, is hearing from God, reading His Word, where He guides me.
Yeah.
Right, and then a mind, heeding mind. Sometimes you know what is right to do, whether you would do it or not. That's the other thing, right? Yeah. You can have very good thoughts, but you don't do it, right? Yeah. So everything has to be all-rounded.
But do you think this kind of thing, of course, there's a thing outside of control, but do you think all of the things that you have talked about, a healthy spirit, a healthy mind, a healthy body, and a healthy soul, essentially, which is like your psyche, do you think all of this area is within your control to a certain extent?
Mostly, yeah. I would believe so, yeah. Because, I mean, you can control how much you eat, right? What you eat. Yeah. So that is your health. You can exercise, do your walks, your, whatever. And then your mind, you can read, you can, increase your knowledge. These days, knowledge is so much, and then your spirit. I mean, for me, I'm a believer, so I read the Bible. The Bible teaches me what to do, what God requires of me is to be humble, live righteously, and be kind, be merciful,
So if you can have this opportunity, what advice would you give to the younger generation?
The younger generation. I think these days the younger generation has a lot of choices, and you really have to be wise. Yeah. So I think I always encourage my son to have 3 people in his life. I mean, God is most important, but 3 other men in his life. One is a mentor that he can look up to, go for counseling or any kind of need. Yeah. And then another man be his age, his peers, so that he can share, whatever they are going through. Most likely, I mean, if you are saying your peer group, people get married, have kids and all, you have a good guy friend to share, your difficulty, your challenges and all. And also have a younger person to, to teach and to, be accounted for. To raise up another guy, another person.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. That was a very good answer.
Actually, I myself, I tried to do that.
Yeah.
But I was not able to. I was not very successful. But I try and have younger people that I can grow with, grow them and encourage them. Yeah.
Wow. So much more to talk about. really so much more to talk about. Particularly, I mean, like in many, I don't know, just when the first time when we talked, in many things, I was very surprised. I never thought you would be a trainer. I always thought you were in some kind of operation or something. No. And what kind of advice you give. I think it was it was really good. But anyway, thanks so much, Phyllis.
Thank you.
Thank you.